New allegations against one of the city's finest now has Officer Earl Anderson Jr. facing charges.
The text messages that were allegedly found on his stepdaughter's phone.
It wasn't just any police officer. It's the 12-year-old little girl's stepdad, apparently been with her mom for the last 5 years. What do you say to this guy if he was standing right here?
I'll just be disgusted.
Cannot blame him one bit. His daughter, a 12-year-old girl, a 6th grader, nearly falls prey to a predator, her own stepdad.
I'm thankful that I caught it so soon because it could have been worse.
The girl's biological dad, Brandon Harris, outing the Detroit police officer on social media this week, sharing the messages that 37-year-old Earl Anderson allegedly sent at 2 in the morning last month.
I'm gonna treat you like you're grown. That's what really got me, and delete these messages and just groom it.
Anderson apparently telling the girl he'd treat her like she was a grown-up, urged her to find secret ways to chat with him, and repeatedly told her to delete the messages, specifically so her dad didn't see. The little girl didn't bite, actually just the opposite, handing over the messages to her aunts.
What do you want the lesson to be for parents?
Just be aware, checking phones.
Anderson charged with 1 count of accosting a child for immoral purposes and given a whopping $200,000 cash bond. His daughter will eventually have to face him in court.
Yo, I ain't even gonna state the obvious when it comes to this case. I mean, we all know that this is disgusting. We all know that it's inappropriate. We do all know that it's wrong. We all know that he needs his beat. I just want to give a shout out, number one, to the little girl for having the courage to show these messages to her aunts, who then showed it to their brother, who is her biological father. I want to give a shout out also to the father for not taking matters into his own hands. Oftentimes, we move off of emotion and we do the first thing that comes to mind. The first thing that comes to mind for me is I want to put my hands around this neck and him just for even having the thought and the audacity to want to be intimate with my child. But what did the father do? The father was smart. He thought it through. He knew, number one, that this man was a cop and that this man was armed, right? And he knew that he could do more damage by turning this man in rather than confronting him head on, because that would have went in a whole different direction and somehow the father would have ended up in jail and he would have been free or on the run. That man went to the police chief that man works under and presented all the evidence. Now that man is behind bars, and guess what? The suffering that man is going to endure by, number one, being a cop in jail, and number two, he's going to get his due justice. Trust me. You want to treat her like a grown woman? Guess what? You about to get treated like a young girl in prison. Because guess what? It is not a myth. It is not a myth that they take and do them a certain kind of way behind bars. It's not a myth. It really happens. I have heard prisoners say the things that they do to men like that in jail. They gonna do to him what he wanted to do to her. And I hope he gets it all. I hope he gets it all. Lastly, I want to say this. Parents, it is your job, it is your obligation to go through your children's devices. When that man asked her, hey, does your grandmother and them check your messages? She said, my daddy goes through every single one of my devices. And I just want to give a shout out to that father for staying on top of it. He knew. He knew. But what is most disappointing, and this is the reason why I tell you guys, a lot of children do not come out. A lot of children don't say anything because they're scared. And oftentimes, because this was partially my case, they don't tell because they don't think that people will believe them. And it turns to, and now we find out that the mother is still with her boyfriend, the guy that violated her daughter. Apparently she's still over there at the house with him, talking to him, involved in all of that. Do you know how heartbreaking that is? To know that your own mother, the person that birthed you, would rather be up under a man than to protect you. We got to do better by these kids. We have to do better by these children. And then we turn around and wonder why they're hellions out here in society. I blame the parents. I blame the parents. But again, shout out to the father. Shout out to the Warren Police Department for handling this swiftly. And shout out to the father for making this be known. This is a public service announcement for all parents. I don't care if you got daughters. I don't care if you got sons. Because there are female predators out there. I've known them. I've known a female predator before. They do exist. So you have to protect your kids at all costs, regardless of the gender. Do better by these children.